Lots of journeys taking longer than they thought.
This happens.
Yeah. So this process of doing no harm, of kind of rooting out these places in our life, it's a long process. And there's lots of different places in the Bible that describe this sort of discipleship or apprenticeship or following Jesus in the negative as things that you don't do. So give us one example.
So, I think of the Apostle Paul when he's writing to the church at Colossians. Paul says, so put to death the sinful, earthly things lurking within you. Turn away from them.
That's good. Jesus in the Sermon on the Mount says several things that don't do. He says, don't do your good deeds publicly. Like if you're doing them publicly, then stop doing it, confess it, and repair it. He says, don't be like the hypocrites who like to pray in all this sort of public way and do it privately. This is the sort of following Jesus in the negative. Don't do harm.
So we want to invite you to the Through 3 Simple Rules inventory. That's our attempt, when you pull that out, to look at the harm that's most regularly being done in our current context, in our current situation, in our modern world. So we've taken John Wesley's stuff and we've modernized it. And it's not perfect, but it gets us moving in the right direction. And I want you to look at rule number 1, which is do no harm. As you look at that rule, do no harm, there's just you can see there's all sorts of different things listed out there. And as I look through it, one of the things that I'm working on myself to do no harm is taking a day of rest or Sabbath. This is something I struggle with. I find myself getting really busy. I love to say yes to things, and I end up without taking a day off for several weeks. And that's a problem. That's doing harm to myself. And so I'm working on rest.
Stop doing that, Mark.
And taking a Sabbath. Exactly.
Yeah.
Stop doing the thing that's causing harm.
And then repair by taking some rest. This is convicting me too. This is a season in our life when we are adopting another campus as a church. We're hiring a pastor for the South Lansing Campus. I've been busier than I ever have been managing more big changes. And I realized that I had gone 4 weeks without taking a day off. In 13 years of being a pastor, I had never gone that long. And so this Friday, I was like, I got to protect this day and take the day off. And then we were talking this past week, I needed to find some spiritual retreat time to take a couple days off in a row to rest and rejuvenate.
Yeah, to be with God.
Tell me, what am I supposed to stop doing?
Stop overworking. You're
there we go.
So busy.
All
take rest. Take a Sabbath.
Exactly. Stop harming yourself.
Confident all of you have some area of your life too that resonates on this inventory, an area where you can grow and improve. And the way we do that, again, by doing no harm, is we stop doing it.
Yeah. Mark, stop doing it.
Yes. Stop overworking.
Yeah. Mark, start taking responsibility for it.
Yes. Take responsibility, Tom.
Yeah.
Name it. And then take responsibility. And finally, repair the harm done.
Yeah, Mark, repair the harm. Rest.
Yes, do the rest.
Hold me to that, okay?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we talked about do no harm. Our second rule for baptism is to do good. This is, we need to face and embrace the love and justice of God. To face and embrace the love and justice of God. Now, doing good, you don't just snap your fingers and you just start doing good. It's a learned habit. It's something you need to practice. And it really takes a lifetime to perfect our love of God and of our neighbor, of others.
So if baptism is entrance into the family of God, then it's entrance onto the team of doing good. The family that's helping you to actively, intentionally do good in the world. Baptism is choosing not to just wait for good things to happen, but to actively and intentionally go seek them out. Look for ways to actively do it.
And that makes me think of the writer of Hebrews and what the writer of Hebrews writes in Hebrews 10, where the writer says, let us think of ways to motivate one another to acts of love and good works. This is doing good, actively doing good. And let us not neglect our meeting together, as some people do, but encourage one another.
Now, I do the most good when I am in a group of people who are actively encouraging each other to do this. If I'm not in a group like that, I naturally kind of focus back in on myself.
Yes. So this is really important. Baptism, as we remember and celebrate baptism today, baptism isn't just about you and God. It's about you and God together with all of us.
Yeah.
Everyone who is gathered today together. It's about us being curious together about how we can be creatively compassionate to everyone around us, to share God's love. And especially that starts with one another.
So we're all born into a family, right? And most of our families are small groups, right?
Yeah, like a small group.
And we all have this family. but most of us aren't sure that we like the family that we have, or at least some of the members
pros and cons.
of
Pros
our
and
family.
cons.
And something happens in baptism.
Yes. So this amazing thing happens in baptism where you are born into a new family. A new family that's a universal family across time and space. And just like your biological family, it's not a perfect family. There are flaws that are on display in this family of God that you're joining about. And to be honest, sometimes the family does harm to each other and to the world around us. But it's a family, and it's your family through baptism.
Now, when I think of a family, again, I think it's a smaller group. My grandpa was one of 14 kids.
That's
and
a
they
big
weren't even
family.
Catholic. But most of us have younger families, or smaller families than that, right?
That's true. We're headed towards smaller families.
It's really hard to do this sort of doing no harm, doing good in a group this size. This is too many people.
It's too many people to do it really
It
effectively.
really happens inside of small groups where we learn this facing and embracing the love and justice of God. If you're not in a small group, I mean, this is one of the things we've encouraged the people who are getting baptized.
Encourage people to be in a small group.
Be in a small group.
Yeah. So our next house rule for baptism is to do good in a small group. You see, a small group is where you learn habits of love and justice. Love and justice to those people in your small group, but then hopefully love and justice to people who are outside of that small group that you're a part of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The best small groups, I think, have some component of helping each other do no harm, helping each other to do good, and then helping each other do the practices of staying in love with God. So pull out this inventory again, if you're able to, and look at rule number 2, and you'll see several things that are kind of the things that are relevant to our day and age. And Mark, when I look at this, one of the ones that jumps out at me is number 9, working actively against discriminatory or unjust systems. And I've been in a small group for many years in the past, and one year we decided that Sarah and I, as our family, we were going to focus every week on anti-racism work. So every week when our small group got together, we had to say, what step did we take towards that? And we never moved more deeply or fully into that commitment than having 52 times where week after week we were expected to say, how are you doing good in that way? And that really got our church as well, because firmly on that path, in that work. Such important work.
It's such important work.
How about, and that was all happened in a small group.
Yeah, so
How about for you?
I looked through this, and I focused today on number 13, and part of the reason I focused on that is we're in a large gathering in a new space, and one of the things we always talk about at Sycamore Creek is who's on our hospitality team. Do any of you know the answer to that question? Raise your hand.
Raise your hand if you're on the hospitality team.
If you are on the hospitality team, raise your hand. Here's the cheat.
Yeah.
Everyone is on the hospitality team. You
Let's
should all be
try,
raising
let's
your
try
hand.
that again.
Let's try it again.
You're
Who is on the hospitality
team this morning?
team?
Who is it? The only people who
Everyone.
are not are if you're here for the first time, you're
If
not
you're here
on
for the first
hospitality
time,
team.
hopefully you're warmly greeted.
Yeah.
But I think this is really important as we head into our adoption of Asbury to keep in mind. We're going to be having a whole new group of people who are going to be joining our church, who are going to become part of the community of Sycamore Creek. And part of the way we practice hospitality is we look for people who are new and we warmly greet them and we welcome them into the church of Sycamore Creek.
And they're joining us next week for the first time. Like the adoption takes effect next Sunday. So when all these new people show up next week, who's on the hospitality team? Yeah, all y'all are, right?
Very
all
good.
y'all.
They're getting it.
And there's a next step on the back of the connection card that you can take to say, I'd like to adopt an Asbury family. So that you pay special attention to greeting somebody, going out for coffee, giving them a call, maybe even picking them up and bringing them here, whatever the case may be.
Yes.
Yeah.
So our house rules for baptism involve doing good in a small group, and that's active, that's intentional. It doesn't happen by accident that you do good. And we want to take a moment and have you reflect on that. So we're again going to give you 90 seconds to turn to someone near you and to answer this question: where do you actively and intentionally seek out opportunities to do good? And what small groups, what groups of people help you to do that? Again, we're going to give you 90 seconds, turn to someone near you, and discuss this question.